All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. I got a very special video for you guys today. As you can see, I got two special guests with me, as you can see on the screen there. Uh, hello, guys. I'm here with.
Hey,
I'm going to be reading some notes, and it's hard to read my writing. So if I mess up, forgive me already in advance because my writing is very chicken scratch. But I am here joined with Marshall Julius, who is an author, film critic, broadcaster, quiz master, and collector, who is the co-author of Rondo Award-winning book Masters of Makeup Effects, which he co-wrote with Academy Award winner Special Makeup Effects and co-founder of the legendary K&B Effects Group, Mr. Howard Berger. How are you guys doing today?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Oh, of course, yeah. The first time we met, it was an incredible time, an incredible signing, which you guys are doing it again for your latest book, Making Monsters, which we're here to talk about. Let's start off with that. How did this book get started? How are we here with the new book?
Well, I mean, we did the first book, Masters of Makeup Effects, did really, really well. Better than the publishers thought, as they let us know. And,
that was the weirdest bit of feedback we ever got. They said, "Oh, the marketing was surprised your book did so well."
What a backhanded comment. And we're like, well, thanks, guys. So they said,
we'll show you.
Yeah, and they said, we'd like you to write something else, but we don't want a follow-up. We don't want like a part 2 because you already did a century of makeup effects, so there's not another century. And I was like, that makes sense. And so Marshall and I talked about it and came up with this idea about writing a book that has to do with how monsters affected us as children and how they continue to inspire us as adults. And this time we made a massive list. The first book, we had about 67 contributors that we interviewed. This was 80. And really kind of like through a very wide net. So we have, obviously there's makeup effects people, but there's also composers and actors and visual effects artists and directors and writers and just an onslaught, stop motion animators, you name it. And, we just started to think like, the first book was so much fun to do. And we did that during the pandemic. And then Marshall said, hey, there's the actors strike. Let's do another book. So, I wasn't going to work for however many months. It ended up being 5 months that the strike went on. So it gave.
I am like the Grim Reaper. Now I'm waiting third.
Yeah.
Like as soon as it starts raining frogs or wine turns into blood or something, I'll be on the phone to Howard and say, okay, it's time to start.
Howard be like, Marshall, what did you do this time?
What did you do? Seriously, I'm going to have to start my own pandemic.
But it was a great opportunity for us to write another book that we cared about. And also connect with our friends because, again, everybody was out of work. We were all standing by for a strike to end. And so it was another great opportunity to connect with all our friends and talk about monsters, which everybody loves to talk about monsters because even if you say, I don't really like those movies, they do. Everybody's a monster fan. And it always surprises us who we end up meeting, who end up being huge monster fanatics. So it was perfect. It was perfect timing. So, Marshall and I had a longer period of time. We had about a year to do the book, which was great. Last time was super fast. And so we got to really craft it and take our time and do more, interview more people and really design something that was pretty cool and pretty special.
Yeah, I see Marshall coined I don't know if you coined the phrase monster kids, but I see that on the book a lot. I feel like we're all monster kids, right?
No, that was like Howard's phrase.
Oh yeah, that's a phrase that's been around since forever. I think actually Bob Burns had coined that phrase. Like we're all monster kids, back in like the 70s. So yeah, no, that's just something that we just call ourselves because we are monster kids. I mean,
absolutely.
Come on, we're grown adults who wear monster T-shirts still.
Yes, I love it. Yes,
so it's and we decorate our house with monster stuff. So. I mean, if that's not a monster kid, and you think about monsters 24/7, and as if they, are real, and you would deal with them every day, and you ask each other questions of stupidity, like if you met Dracula, but it's just stupid scenarios, but they actually mean a lot to us, and we do actually think about these things, spend a lot of brain power on, can Godzilla beat King Kong, or who would win in a fight, or what have you.
Oh yeah, asking the real
I
important
think
questions.
King Kong. Everyone always says Godzilla. I think King Kong because I think he's smarter. But you know, that's probably a conversation for another day.
I was going to say, that's a whole other.
That's a rabbit hole. So I wouldn't.
Absolutely,
that Howard is not at home at the moment, which is why his background is so.
My background's boring. I'm on location in New Mexico, so this is an upstairs room in the in the house.
Do not take that against Howard. His
Don't judge me. Right. Don't judge me for my boring background.
No, when we started doing the interviews, and I moved to Norfolk, so I've been here like 2 years, and we basically started working on the book before I moved. And you know, there was my old room, my old collection, and then it started getting packed up, and then we did a few more interviews, and it was just boxes, and then the room was empty. I did a few more interviews. When we first moved here, one of the first interviews that we did was with Tom Savini.
Oh, nice.
And, you know, I mean, having decent shelf porn is so important, you know, for want of a better phrase. And Tom Savini, I was sitting in the kitchen with the one Raiders of the Lost Ark poster behind me and nothing else. And Tom's like, why is your background so plain, Marshall? I felt so judged. It was like, oh my God. I said to Rich, I'm not going to do another scrap of work until I told my wife, until I move into my den and I do it. I said, I'm not going to let anybody ask me that question again.
Yeah. Here you thought, like, I'm going to put one poster up so it looks like, you know, I have something. And then the one poster was like, not enough. Yeah. Well, speaking of Monster Kids and everybody, the first time for the book, we had an amazing signing at Dark Delicacies. And it was like a high school reunion. You guys were sharing the book around, everyone signing it like it was a yearbook. It was so much fun. It was like a big reunion. And you guys are doing it again for this the latest book. Yes. Oh, yeah. Which will be on Sunday, October 26th from 2 to 5 but hosted by Dark Delicacies.
Yeah. But it's gonna be great. So yeah, this was something like when Dell told us he was shutting down the brick and mortar building, Marshall and I were like, oh no, what are we going to do about our signing? So Marshall reached out to Sue and Dell and said, you know, what do you think about doing kind of like a Dark Delicacy Presents? And they were up for it. So we're doing it at Emerald Knight Comics, which their son owns, which is in Burbank.
That's exactly right.
And so, you know, it's going to be a blast. We have, of course, Marshall and I are going to be there, but we have some really great guests coming. You know, actually, know what? I'm gonna just for you guys, we're gonna rattle off some names. Okay.
Oh, nice, perfect.
So we've got some really cool people coming in. So I'm gonna give you a heads up who's gonna be there. So it's gonna obviously be Marshall and myself. It'll be Aaron and Mike McCash, Mike Mendez, Scott Stoddard, Karen Jackson, Kevin Wasner, Bill Corso, Mark Tavares, Dana Gould, Sylvie Knight, Justin Raleigh, Tammy Lane, Dell is going to come actually, which will be great. Dirk Rogers, Gabe Bartelis, and Terry Wolfinger. So far, and this is early on, so I feel like we're going to end up having a ton of more people. So this is the one. You want to come to this and get your book signed? I mean, last time when we did Masters, we had, what was it, Marshall? 23 contributors.
I think so, that? And we're aiming for 30. They told us that the limit. The most people that we can have was 30.
Yeah.
Okay. So between us, we're looking at 32. We will not be satisfied until people come to this signing. They're going to leave with an awesome book, if I do say so myself.
Absolutely.
And 32, you know, as many signatures as we can get, including Dell, who for the second book.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Because Dell's a fantastic monster kid and had some wonderful stories about Ray Harryhausen and just, you know, Ray Bradbury and, you know, and other people whose name isn't Ray.
Oh, yeah,
that's true. He knows other people who are not named Ray.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody.
Well, he does.
That last signing was like, you know, like the best day ever, and I don't mean that, you know, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, you know, after working on the book for so long, especially post-pandemic, you know, when you felt like maybe the world was coming to an end, and actually the apocalypse is not as cool as we thought it might be. It's actually just sort of depressing and lonely, and to be there with all those amazing people, it had such a good energy, and it was just the best day ever. I remember that, and I remember trying to be present and also sort of like modern and thinking, Marshall, don't just enjoy it. Like, take a moment, take a breath, and just look around and sort of take it in. Yes. And, you know, one of the nicest things about it was that amazing video that you did, because the next morning, when we saw that you posted it, it's like, I remember Howard and I sat and we watched it, and it was like, oh yeah, look at that, and all the things that we didn't have a chance to capture, the queues outside and just the the excitement, and so that's why we're really happy to chat with you again.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. Was when Doug reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, Marshall and Howard watched the video, right? They loved it." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, they did! That's amazing!" Yeah, because it was a surprise to you guys. You had no idea that was even happening, right?
No, we had no idea.
Oh, we loved it. I was just
it was
loved
great.
it. That video was amazing.
Yeah, you captured everything we didn't see, remember because it was really a blur to us. I mean,
I'm sure, yeah,
it was nonstop on top of like making sure we're there, being present for the people that attended, and then for our guests, and running around and this and that, and yeah, it was great fun. That was such a great successful event that when Marshall and I headed out from my house, I'm like, I've got like 5 or 6 extra boxes of books. I'm gonna bring them. Because Dell's like, no, I ordered enough. We ran out of books. And I'm like, hey, I have 6 boxes in the car. He's like, bring them in. We need them. Bring them in. And I'm like, I'm so glad we did that.
Yes.
Yeah, it was incredible, So, I mean, I think it's going to be a great signing. It's going to be fun. It'll be, kind of also, I think it's great because people think now that, Dark Delicacies shop is gone, that it doesn't exist, but it does, and Sue and Dell still have the company running, it's online and what have you, but it's a good opportunity for people to go, oh, Dark Delicacy is not done, and it's not going to be done. Dell's never going to finish that up. He's got it he said he has the name for another 10 years. So, he'll keep going, but I like the Dark Delicacy Presents.
Absolutely. I love that too. Yeah. He said he's going to do pop-up shops here and there once in a while, and then do signing events like this. And you can still pre-order the book on Dark Delicacies website right now because for non-attending, it's already sold out. But if you want to attend, this is an amazing signing event. You can still pre-order right now at their website. The Dark Delicacies, go to signings. You can pre-order the book right now. Yep. So that's going to be super exciting because my friends the ones that didn't go, missed out on it and watched the video. Were like, man, that looks like so much fun. I am not missing out on it again. So I got 2 more friends that are going to go, and they're super excited. They can't wait.
And you're going to be there.
I will be there as well. Yes, and I also just recently. It didn't get here on time, but I have the 3rd version of your guys' t-shirt, which I wanted to talk about because you got amazing artwork on the cover by the amazing artist Jason Emerson. Yep. You have the Frankenstein. That's the one right there. You have Terry Wolfinger.
Which Marshall has
that one right there. And then I ordered the Graham Humphreys, the werewolf one.
Yeah,
which I was going to wear today, but from my friends at Funky Monkey Designs.
Funky Monkey.
Yeah, I love those guys, so I wanted to make sure I shouted them out as well because you can purchase those 3 designs on makingmonsters.org, correct?
Yep,
so if you want to sport a cool t-shirt like that, that would be the way to go.
And listen, those guys have been great. Funky Monkey, John and Lisa have really gone to the mat for us as well. And we didn't know them from Adam, really. I ended up meeting John through K&B because he had reached out to Greg Nicotero with some ideas for Walking Dead as far as printing and so forth. And then Greg was able to spin that into something else and came up with some really amazing ways to battle the COVID issues, in terms of zombies and because we had to come up with a whole different way of like not doing contact lenses and dentures and how we were going to do hundreds of zombies without real contact. And John was very instrumental in figuring that out with Greg Nicotero, and it was Greg's idea.
Yeah, he got a nice credit on the show as well.
Yeah, Greg even gave him credit on the episodes, which was super cool. So, and then from there, I'm like, hey, John's really. So now I have John, like, he does all of the printing. Whenever I do a show and I'm doing swag, I just go right to John. It doesn't even matter. It's like, even if I'm in, like right now I'm in New Mexico. And if I'm like, oh, I'll just use a place here. I'm like, no, I'm not ever going to betray John. Even when I was in the UK last year on this show called Telemasca, which will be out in October. And I've got stuff from John and he shipped it over from the States to London, So I'm like, the guy's so dynamite. Him and Lisa are so great and they do so many amazing things for us and they're so generous. So so it's good to shout him out. So
absolutely, yeah. First time I met him, he was a cosplay full Teen Wolf.
I know
he does that.
He's a crazy monster guy.
He dresses up. He gets so hot. He tells me what it's like in Monster Palooza. He said that they don't have good air conditioning and everybody's just shoved in there and it's boiling hot. And so, what do you wear in an incredibly boiling hot environment? This full werewolf suit.
Yeah.
And then with clothes on top of it.
With a Letterman jacket. With the Letterman jacket on top of it, which is like another. 15 pounds of wool.
No, it's like he's actively just trying to shrivel up and die.
He's a huge fan. So it's awesome. That's why we love John. He's very like.
Yeah, John is great. He always has good ideas. He kind of runs the website, and he's kind of he's super proactive as well. He first reached out to us. He grabbed the Masters of Makeup Effects offline and just stuck it on a T-shirt and sent it. And it's like, what do you think? And it's
and
like
we said we'll take 400, please. Yeah. So you've seen the book. You've had an opportunity to look through it. Did you like it?
I loved it. Absolutely. Yeah. One of my favorites, since I'm a big werewolf fan, was chapter 9, Growling Pains, I believe it's called. And just hearing the stories and the pictures. That was one of my questions was, the behind the scenes photos is always my favorite, and the stories that come with it. And you, Howard, you recently shared some photos on your Instagram from the set of Day of the Dead. Mm-hmm. So how much fun is it to revisit photos like that? And put
it's fun. I mean, when you find stuff like those Day of the Dead photos I just posted on Instagram, I have I have thousands and thousands of photos that I've been cataloging for the past couple of years. And I came across those over the weekend, and I'm like, I should post these. And it's fun. It brings back memories. I was 19 years old in those photos, and because that was my very first location job. And I got hired thanks to John Vulich, who was owned Optic Nerve for a while. He's passed on, sadly. But Johnny had hired myself and Everett Burrell to come out to Pittsburgh to work on the film. And we were kids. Everett was probably 18. I was 19. But it brought back great memories. And I remember every single day, like it was yesterday, about that movie. It was so instrumental in my career and in just me general, and getting to work with Savini and George Romero and meeting Greg Nicotero, who obviously has become my lifelong pal, for the last 41 years. And it's great. And so digging through all those photos and also getting photos, that's the thing we love about our books is we don't really use any unit photography. I mean, there's some stuff that we just don't have or people don't have, and we'll license the specific photographs. But for the most part, these are all personal photos that were sent to us, and it's amazing. And every time we would get stacks of them, Marshall and I would hop on FaceTime or whatever and go, can you believe this? And Joe Dante sent us this, and oh my God, look what Phil Tippett sent us. Like I'd never seen these photos before. And here's Phil at 17 years old sitting next to Ray Harryhausen talking to his idol, and things like that. That's so exciting what you find. And there's so much stuff out there. And that's really made it joyful. I mean, we collected, on the first book, we collected 4,000 photos and we used, I think, 1,000. And this was close. This was, I think, pretty close. Listen, we'd love to use every single photo because every photo tells a billion stories. So
we tried to be more selective. I mean, in terms of what we asked for. Like with the last one, we just said, send us all your pictures.
Sure.
And it was just overwhelming how much we had. So now we trying to just give us stories, give us pictures relating to your stories, and we'll see how that goes. And that was still overwhelming, but at least we kind of had a bit of direction.
Yeah, and Marshall, I think it was also easier for them if we were to pinpoint, like, hey, give us photos of like we wanted this, 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 and this. I mean, obviously when we talked to Joe Dante, he was so like we want some piranha stuff and some howling stuff and gremlins. And he was like, here they are, feel free.
And there was a lot. There was a lot, wasn't there?
It was a lot, and incredible photos, stuff I've never seen before that, now we have in our archives of, we have 8,000, really between the two books, over 8,000 photos.
Oh my gosh.
People have sent us from, all that. So
that must have been so difficult trying to figure out which ones you like, because you're geeking out, looking at food, you forget you're working. You're like, oh wait, we need to figure out, we need to pick these pictures.
Well, there was a lot. Actually, our editor Ross Hamilton went through it, and he's like, guys, there's too many pages. We were limited, and that's the thing too. We have to keep in mind that we were contracted like this amount of words and this amount of pages. So we had to be really careful, like how we orchestrated that. And some people from the first book, we weren't able to interview everybody we wanted to. And of course we heard from some friends that were like, so what, am I not, what am I, chopped liver? And I explained to them, and because Marshall and I talked about it, because I knew it was going to be an issue. And it really was about the more people we had, the more watered down everybody's stories would be, because we had to stick to, like, what was it, 80,000 words, Marshall?
Yeah. I mean, so in terms of word count, once we passed 80 people, it was like, if we include more people, then we have to start cutting, stories, and it's like we didn't
want to
go
do
on
that
forever.
So I mean,
plus we had to have a cutoff point at some point. We had to say, okay, we've got enough. Got enough for 12 books, so you should probably stop.
So I mean, that was also like, hey, listen, when we do the second book, let's talk. I mean, there's a couple repeat people, which is great, and we were happy they were willing to do it again. But it gave us the opportunity to hit up people that we didn't get the first time. Like people like Mike Elizalde, who's really amazing, who owns Spectral Motion, and talk to Simon Pegg and so forth and so on. So that was really a great opportunity, and still we missed some people. Like, there are a couple people I wish we would have been able to interview, but we knew we had a limited space. We had like a cutoff of words and a cutoff of pages. And like right before we went to almost to publishing, they're like, they made a mistake and they miscounted the pages. And there was like 4 or 5 pages, or maybe 6, that Marshall and I put together. And they're like, we miscounted. We have too many. Or like one of us caught it. I'm like, why are there 2 pages that say, 406? And they're like, oh shit. So they went back and like, we have like X amount of pages too many. We have to cut pages.
I'd forgotten about that. I'd actually basically blocked that trauma out. I remember
it was good. It was all good.
I remember thinking in the car for like an hour.
Yeah.
Oh God, we got to cut 6 pages, and what are we going to?
Yeah.
In the end, it made the book even better.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
Concentrated the goodness.
Yeah.
There was no fat.
And the thing is, Marshall, those were pages like when Ross said, "Oh, you guys have some extra pages," and we put together some really cool visuals. It wasn't any text or anything. It was mostly just like, "Wow, we can use these photos." And then I think I caught it. Like, I'm like, they think they counted like included the cover and the 2 gray pages as part of their count. Somebody.
Well, when you have to count up past 320 now, it gets confusing.
It does get confusing. But
you start to, the air is thinner after.
But yeah, it's true. But it like Marshall said it. Marshall said it really worked out, and it cut the fat. And it was like, that would have been cool to have. But it was really shoe leather. It was just like, okay, well, we can fill these pages, which is no problem for us. But it was, at first we were like, what the F? We were so mad. I called Marshall. He was driving. And I'm like, what the?
I just wanted to go like running people over.
The thing too is
that's probably not practical. I don't
the thing too about the books are that Marshall and I really have our fingers deep in every single page. So like we would get pages from the designer and from Ross in the like overnight. And since Marshall's in the UK, we're 8 hours ahead. So I would get up at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and we would go through the pages, and we would re-edit. I would just sit there and we'd cut and paste, it live, and then I'd put pages together with Marshall, and then we would go, guys, this is what we want. So those 6 pages that we had to cut were pages we spent a lot of time on. Those were a couple mornings, 4 a.m. mornings. And then I was like, I cannot believe this. I can't believe we're doing this. But anyhow, there's a lost pages.
But there were lots of things like that where you have to sort of adapt. And what I really liked about the second book was that there were people who we couldn't talk to for the first book because it was very focused about makeup effects. So it was either about people who create makeup effects or it was about people who wear makeup effects. So that was a huge subject and great for a book. But for this one, because almost everybody we spoke to were monster kids, it's like, well, why don't we do one just about monsters? Because if we do that, then we can, like Howard said, we can do visual effects, we can do, composers, writers, and not just talk about the art of physically making the monster, but what does it take to score a monster, to write the dialogue for a creature, and we could just look at all the different disciplines. So, and clearly, 99% of the people coming up at signings and stuff were monster kids. So it was like, give the people what they want. It's what we wanted.
Right.
It's what people wanted. It's like, it was sort of like, it wasn't a difficult decision. Did you notice, by the way, that you're thanked in the acknowledgements? We put you in the acknowledgements, so you have to sign the books for us as well at the signing, because it's like we got Greg Nicotiro's mum in our. She signed the last book for us, didn't she, Howard?
That's amazing.
Like, if you're mentioned or there's a picture of you, then it's like we want it in. And Howard's actually got our copies of Masters at the moment that we've been taking around and getting signed still.
I love it. I mean,
Howard,
me too.
Who did you just get it signed by?
Got Guillermo to sign it.
So did I. Yeah,
I went to Guillermo's house and I'm like, I need you to sign these. Absolutely, whatever you need.
I love that. That's a perfect segue.
You've been doing that, haven't you? You've been
yes.
The book
I got Steve Wang. Yeah, I'm like, and then when I could add more to it, I absolutely will. Yeah, and I'll continue to do it with both of them now. But
so now we're going to retire that copy and move on to making monsters.
Oh, which I love. Which Robert Englund did the forward. You mentioned Guillermo did the first one, and then Alex Winter did the afterwards, right? Yeah. So
did the afterwards. That was great. I mean, Marshall and I again had a list of people, and I reached out to Robert Englund. I just wrote him. I'm like, hey, would you be up for doing this? Doing the forward for our new book, and because we had interviewed Robert for making Masters of Makeup Effects. Mm-hmm. And we didn't hear anything. And then one morning I woke up and there was the foreword. And he just wrote it. Yeah. He never, I was like, well, I guess Robert's busy. Mm-hmm. He wrote it and it was beautiful. And literally I sent it right away to Marshall and he was like, I can't believe. I said, he just sent it.
Yeah. It was like, it wasn't like there was no chasing required. It was like
none whatsoever. And then I'm like, hey, and then we asked like, Robert, do you have a photo you like? And he sent us the photo. And he and his wife, Nancy, is wonderful. And I've known Nancy as long as Robert's known Nancy, because we were shooting 976 Evil. Oh, wow. And Nancy was on the prop department, and that's where they both met and fell in love. And they've been together. I mean, it's been almost probably 40 years. I don't know. It's been a long time, but she's wonderful and she really helps organize all that. And then with Alex Winter, we really wanted, somebody we wanted an actor who had experience in makeup. And we were talking to Bill Corso, who's also in this book and Masters, and who's a great, great friend and one of the best people I know. And he said, dude, let me reach out to Alex. He'll totally do it. And he reached out to Alex, and Alex wrote us, something, and it was great. And he
was so into it.
He was so into it. And like we had a couple like, hey, Alex, maybe can you talk a little bit about this or that? And he's like, oh, yeah. So he wrote all this up, and I'm like, hey, here's some photos. Can we use? He's like, oh, give me that one of me in the makeup, and from Freaked.
From Freaked, it's a perfect photo, yes.
And this is perfect time because it just came out in 4K, and a re-release, and it's being rediscovered, by generations that had no idea what this movie was, and so it's pretty cool. So Alex was really awesome about it, and of course Robert Englund was really awesome about it. So
that's so cool. Yeah, I noticed you had dedicated it to your parents and Marshall to your wife. Will you have them sign your book? Because now that I'm told I'm in acknowledgement, I feel honored. So thank you for that. For one,
you're really welcome. Neat. It was the least we could do. I mean, you were really so helpful in getting the word out.
And we really wanted to acknowledge people that were very instrumental in the first book, and then continue to be supportive. So it's
absolutely
absolutely. Yeah. My wife wanted to know why she didn't get a big and thank you, Miriam. So,
well, happy anniversary, by the way. Let's give her a shout out too.
Yeah. No, she's super cool. So she got a big thank you in the first one, and she's thanked in this book. She's there, of course. I would meet my wife and my children.
Our wives mentioned all over the place.
Yeah, and our kids.
In terms of dedications, I kind of dedicated my book before Masters of Makeup Effects to my wife. That was my quiz book, Vintage Geek. But it didn't do so well because it was really, really hard, and it made everybody feel stupid. And after dedicating Masters of Makeup Effects to my kids, I thought, okay, I feel like I should dedicate the next one to Ruta, because she deserves having a book that people actually really like and doesn't make them feel stupid. So and actually read.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Well, you mentioned
I have to say though, Vintage Geek was a bloody good book, but it's as I learned that just because I think that trivia is widely known, it doesn't actually mean that. I know it because I've grown obsessed with all the details, but it's not necessarily information that springs to everybody's mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you mentioned Mike Elizalde earlier, he was a photo of him in the werewolf suit.
Yeah.
That he had said that Steve Johnson, I believe.
Yeah. So that was it was for Howling 4. Mike used to work for Steve Johnson, who is an incredible artist and owned XFX and huge genius brain. Steve Johnson has, and so yeah, Mike played a werewolf, and Mike told the story, and he's like, dude, I have a photo of me in the werewolf suit, young Mike Elizalde. So, yeah, I mean, we all started off doing stuff like that and working for our heroes, being Stan Winston, Rick Baker, Steve Johnson, Kevin Yeager,
great,
really, really great people who taught us a lot. And then we all branched off to do our own thing, which I think is super cool. I mean, we've had that at K&B. I mean, I've seen like Jason Collins, who owns Autonomous FX. Jason started at K&B, worked there for a number of years, and went off and started his own company, which is doing very, very well. And they do really great stuff. And Jason's an awesome dude. And you kind of I like it. I think it's cool, when people branch off. I mean, Kevin Yeager, branched off from working. We were all working at Stan Winston's on Aliens, and Kevin got a call to interview for Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, got it, and left Stan's to go do Nightmare. And that was a really big thing for all of us, because we were like, wow, one of us is moving up the ladder. This is so cool. And Stan Winston was always very supportive of that. I mean, granted, he was leaving in the middle of a show, so Stan wasn't so crazy about that. But it's part of the whole thing. Like your fledglings, like, okay, it's time for you to fly out of the nest, but unfortunately, it becomes, some people see it as competition, which becomes an issue. I don't, nor does Greg. It's like, yeah, no, this is great, and it's fun to see the next generations go off. So, but yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, like, again, Mike Elizalde worked for Steve Johnson at FFX, along with a lot of great people: Norman Cabrera, Billy Corso, Joel Harlow, Lenny McDonald. I mean, the list goes on of all the brilliant artists that we have in our film industry that are true leaders. They came to the table at Steve Johnson's already super duper talented. But, having the opportunity, I think, that Steve gave them was pretty fantastic. And I think Steve's, brilliant mind fueled them. And just there was no limit, and even we at K&B were always inspired by things. I'd always say, like, what would Steve Johnson do? When we were first starting out, I'd say to Bob Kurtzman, who was the, one of the original partners, he was the K. I'm like, well, how would Steve approach this? We should think about how we do this. So, but yeah, it's really, really cool. And you get your inspiration from all your friends. I mean, that's what's so cool. That's why I have, really, the only reason I have Instagram is either posting photos of my dog, Alfie, or I just love looking at what everybody's doing. I get so inspired. I see like Jordy Shell's doing this, or Norman Cabrera, who's incredible, does this, or it's just so much fun to see that. And I'm always like, taking photos of them. I'm like, this is so cool. This makeup's so great. Or, anywhere in the world, Barry Gower, the Gowers, Barry and Sarah, who are both, in this book. Everything they do is incredible, from, Game of Thrones to the Last of Us to, everything. It's just like,
they're just the biggest superstars at the moment. We were lucky that they found time to interview both of them.
And Marshall and I, when I was in London, Marshall and I took them to dinner. Sarah and Barry, and I said, Sarah, we're going to do another book, and you're going to be in it. She's like, oh yeah, right. Just saying that because we're at dinner, and Barry's the superstar. And so then when we got this book going, we called Sarah, and she's like, you guys were serious? I'm like, yeah, we want to interview you, like the great woman behind the great man. Come on, Sarah's a driving force, and I think it's really telling, actually, just to really quickly talk about that. So, like, Barry's the forefront. It's Barry Gower effects. But Sarah is right there. Like, it wouldn't happen without Sarah. Sarah takes the brunt of everything and lets Barry be the creative, and it would, I think most people would say, like, I want it to be, Barry and Sarah Gower Studios or whatever. But Sarah's like, no, I'm good. It's that Barry is the superstar here, and I'm here to just support him. And it's such a fantastic relationship. And the same thing with Mike and Aaron McCash, who work hand in hand. And it's so fun to see those two together and how they work. And, interviewing both of them was hilarious and marvelous. and they're both such
especially
great
since their
characters.
cat kept jumping up on the
they have
keyboard and showing us its butthole.
Yeah,
I mean,
they have like a
Dark
hair,
as life, you know?
yeah, two hairless cats, and they're constantly in front of the camera and showing us their buttholes and all that stuff.
I got some interesting screen grabs.
But no, it's interesting, you know, and also, you know, I mean, I think one of my favorite interviews, because it gave a different perspective, was Michelin Plitt, you know, Michelin Pitt, who really has a different perspective on things. And, you know, she's a monster kid for sure, but she took it in a different route, you know, and having you know, her clothesline and her accessory line and being a filmmaker. And her and her husband Chip are just super, super cool. And I'm really inspired by them. And I thought it was important to get her perspective on things, especially about Creature from the Black Lagoon, because there's so
that was really fascinating.
You know, about the creation of that, and you know, I mean, there's two factions here, and that exist in our industry. You know, it's like no, it was this person or it was this person, but she was just really wonderful to talk to and really inspiring, and that's also why we just wanted to reach out to people that we really, really liked, and I think she and Chip are wonderful people. And they brought a lot to the table, you know. And there's that beautiful photo of her in her Creature from the Black Lagoon dress with her creature handbag, which I love.
Oh yeah.
I think she's just super, super cool too. She might be the coolest monster gal I know. So
absolutely.
But yeah, no, Marshall and I really stretched the boundaries of like who we wanted to speak to, and it wasn't by far at all usual suspects. And yeah, I thought it worked out great. It was super fun.
Because there's a great segment where Phil Tippett is talking to Spielberg about Jurassic Park and how they're entering the digital world, right? And he says, and he tells Spielberg, "What do you think?" And he says, "We're extinct." Funny enough, Spielberg uses that line in the movie. And there's also a great story with Damien Leone talking about doing makeup effects with his friends and their parents freaking out, going, "What the heck? What?" And he goes, "That's it. I fell in love with it." Right? Stories like that. Not only that, but got to interview Charles Bernstein, which if you think of Nightmare on Elm Street, I automatically hear the score immediately. So they have him on there as well. And David Tasmanian, he's so rad. He does comics. He's an actor. Yeah. And he has his Count Crowley book, and he was mentioned a lot on the book, which I thought was very cool. So I can't wait to have him sign as well.
You know, every time that somebody else said yes, they love to chat with us, it was like, wow, that's amazing. They're going to bring so much to the book, and on top of that, it'll be so fun to chat with them. And everybody has everybody comes from a slightly different perspective of all loving the same things, but you get all these interesting side stories and stuff. Like Larry Karaszewski, he's the screenwriter of Ed Wood and Mars Attacks, co-screenwriter, and he told a story about how he was desperate to see The Exorcist, and his mum just really didn't want him to go to The Exorcist. And he was a chubby little kid, and I think you can say that. And certainly he said it. And he said, "Look, if I lose 30 pounds in a month, will you let me go then?" And his mum, thinking that was never going to happen, she was like, "All right." And then, I mean, God knows what he did. He probably just had some organs removed, but in a month he actually managed to lose that weight. I mean, it's super dangerous. He must have just starved himself for a month.
I think he did.
But he did it, and then his mum had to let him go and see The Exorcist. So it's like this was the lengths that he would go to.
And that's every monster kid, right?
His obsession, his passion, and these are the people that we're speaking to.
Exactly.
You just couldn't have asked for a better group of people.
Right. To the normal people, that would sound insane, but to us, we're like, "Yeah, go for it, man. That's amazing."
It seems normal. Yeah, no, absolutely. You know,
Normal.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, listen, I think the thing is with all of us monster kids, we're normal to ourselves. We're, you know, the island of misfit toys, you know, everywhere else. But that's what makes it fun. I think if you're normal, you're boring as hell. So we tried not to interview anybody who was normal, you know. And and it's like one of my favorite interviews as well was Michael Giacchino, who I'm a huge fan of and have become really good friends with through the Academy and stuff. And Michael was so enthusiastic and so excited. That guy is a massive monster fanatic, and
he's got the most amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's incredible. But he's just a great guy, you know. And he actually went to NYU and was roommates with Joel Harlow, and so Joel, they would make movies. Michael was telling us, and so was Joel. And Joel would do the makeup effects, and Michael would make the movies and then compose. And they were in a little teeny dorm at NYU.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so you went to school with Harlow? And he's like, yeah. That's why I love makeup and monsters and all this shit. And
it was cool that we got to talk to him about directing as well, because that was something that before he got into composing, he always kind of thought, well, I want to be a director, you know, and that's so he came in via the music, but you know, he did Werewolf by Night, and we've got a lot of great stuff about Werewolf by Night. Also, Kirk Thatcher, who was in Werewolf by Night, and was in the creature shop for Return of the Jedi, and it was like the stories that he gave us, and just talking to him, I mean, as a Star Wars fan, it's like. You mean we're going to have like Phil Tippett for like an hour and a half? We're going to like have Phil Tippett for an hour and a half, it's like, and talk about Star Wars, and it's like I was just freaking out, man.
No, those are amazing stories like that you get in the book, and the photos too. Because there was one page, I think it was page 84, the double spread of like a comic artist of you guys sitting there with a bunch of monsters.
That's Mark Tavares. So Mark Tavares, who's been a great friend for decades, we asked him to do a piece, and he's the king of cartoons. And he just came up with, like, we kind of said, Mark, we planted a seed, and there it was, and Mark did a magnificent job. I mean, that's the thing too. We have original art in this book, you know, like we talked in the beginning with Jason and Terry and Graham and Mark Tavares, you know, and then there's some other stuff peppered through the book, you know, that is from like the K&B files or what have you of original artwork. And you know, I always say Mark Tavares it's the poison pen of Mark Tavares. There you go. Poison pen.
I mean, that's just it's so great.
But don't Marshall, don't show it too soon. Don't show it too much. That's part of it. That was too much. Let people get the book and see it. Okay.
That's right.
There's a lot. A
lot of Easter eggs.
Yes. And for that piece,
say, oh, can we put this in the background? And it was really cool. And then he put us in it.
Yeah. So
for some reason, both of us wearing tennis shorts. It's like tennis shorts
that piece of art we planted with Mark. We wanted like a Mort Drucker Mad Magazine fold out feel.
Totally feel to it.
And Mark is the king of that, and has just a brilliant comic mind. And
he was amazing. And
he's amazing.
That'd be an amazing T-shirt.
Well, we want to do it as a T-shirt. We just can't figure out how, because it's so like landscape.
Everything would be small.
It would be too small. It's too. But it makes a great poster. So people should definitely get a poster size of it.
Absolutely, that'd be amazing.
But it's it's a really great piece, and we wanted to put it in the center because you open it up and there's Mark's beautiful illustration.
It's beautiful. I saw that.
And Howard commissioned all this amazing art, and then at my last birthday, Howard said, I send you a present. Oh, I want to see you like when you open it. And so it's like I kind of like called him up and I'm opening it. And he actually gave me the Terry Wolfinger portrait.
Oh, I saw you post. Yes,
It's like
his artwork is incredible.
I love Terry Wolfinger's art. I mean,
oh no, that's amazing. That's why I was so I was so happy that I saw them names on there, and then you had the 3 different designs. So that was very neat that they got to be part of the project.
And we got to not only have their art, but also interview them. And we see Graham Humphries, he gave us art for the last one and for this one. But we actually got to interview him about, monsters in general, but also the film posters that he created, like for Evil Dead and stuff, but also what he thinks of as the greatest, like, monster movie, poster art of all time. And having his sort of insights onto that, it was like, you just can't beat it,
Absolutely.
Plus his choices were amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And they're in the book, of course.
Yeah, that brings me to a question. What was your guys' favorite monster that got you into the love of monsters? Do you guys remember the first time you seen your first
monster? For me, I always go back to Creature from the Black Lagoon. Like, that's my all-time favorite monster, and still is. I know I say it all the time, but I do love it. I think it's great, and I love the design. I love how it works in the first film. I like all 3 movies quite a bit, but the first film is great. It's just.
I would say King Kong. I got the original King Kong. It was like, I remember seeing it as a little kid. It was like, my parents were out. So my brother let me stay up super late and watch, movies on BBC Two, and like it was always monster movies, like after 11 o'clock, which was super late for me then. But it was like I remember I was so excited. I got cross-legged right in front of the television just so it could fill up as much of my vision. And I was on Skull Island. I tell you, I love that movie so much, and I don't know if that's the thing. I think I just always loved that stuff, anything a bit different or strange or weird or unreal. I mean, just because the real world it's okay, but I'd rather have John. But King Kong just sort of consolidated all of that for me. It's like, oh my god, this is it. This is like this is the crown jewel of this is what is good in life. This is what it's all about. And so King Kong.
Well, the cover gave me a great question to come up with. I wanted to ask you guys if you guys can make your perfect monster using the design of the cover with a different head, eye, like a Mr. Potato Head. What would your perfect monster look like?
Well, what's the thing about the cover is this has always been an argument with the publisher. Even the first book, like Marshall and I had an idea, and Marshall mocked up something I thought was fantastic, and then we wanted to do original artwork, and they're like, no, artwork doesn't sell, blah 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 blah. And so they did a mixed match of stuff, which we ended up liking very much. But we were
it turned out really well.
Yeah.
But I remember we both put out a post to all of our followers and saying, what do you like best, photographic art or illustrative art? And everybody said illustrative. I don't think a single person said that they prefer posters or covers that are photographic. But we managed to get a cover that was photographic, but also sort of artful.
Because originally it was going to be Graham Humphreys. The illustration that's in Masters was going to be the cover. And so when the book came out, Guillermo called and he's like, "Why did you not use the painting?" I said, "It wasn't up to us." So, but this time around, we said, "Well, we want to do I'm going to commission a painting." And they're like, "No, we don't want that. We want this." And I said, "Okay, well." Marshall and I said, put something together. And they presented something that was so atrocious. I said, I would rather it just be a black cover and nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, my
God. I said, I'll just have a white cover with the word notes at the top.
Yeah. And I was like, this is not going to happen. So Marshall actually designed the cover, basically put something together, mocked it up. And I'm like, that's great.
And the only difference was that I put Godzilla's eyes.
Right.
And
and so I said, I know the artist I want to use, which is Jason, who's up in Canada, and reached out to Jason. And this was kind of in the 11th hour. Like the clock was ticking because they had wasted so much time with bullshit covers that Marshall.
Yeah, my God, that was stressful.
Just like, this is bullshit. So Jason was able to deliver that cover in time, and they kept like, when are we getting it? We need it. I said, dudes, this is on you guys. You guys jagged us around for months.
We could have asked for it 6 months, 8 months earlier.
Because we knew exactly what we wanted. So Jason did it. We loved it. They loved it. And here we got our illustrated cover, which I think is fantastic. It's
absolutely
a beautiful cover. It does
jump out at you, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, look at it. Yeah, it totally stands out. Yeah. I mean, you got modern, newer, and past.
We wanted everything from, art to Frankenstein's monster. It feels like that's covering the whole history of monsters.
Absolutely. Yeah, from the past to the present now, Yeah, that's what I love. I think mine would be a mashup of the Universal monsters,
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we love. Yeah, we just threw things that we loved. We made a list and gave them to Jason, and he gave us like 3 or 4 different mock-ups. And we knew we wanted to include Art the Clown because he's so popular, and also it's cool, and we love Damien so much, and he's such an awesome dude. And we wanted to include all the things we love. We had a version with Godzilla. We had a version with this Creature from the Black Lagoon. We had tons of different versions. So
But in the end, we kind of went with this one, and it's really striking. I remember the first time I saw it, it was actually the first time I saw it, it was like it wasn't quite finished, and I thought it was spectacular. And then he was like, "Oh, I haven't finished doing it yet." It's like, "You haven't?"
Oh yeah.
And then it came back even better. It's like, my God. I think Jason's doing it because he's famous for doing the portrait.
Eyes without a face.
The eyes.
Yeah, the eyes.
That's where he got to do still slithers, but he got to actually make a whole face this time.
It was pretty cool. Cool. So
no, it's very cool. Yeah. So let's talk about the signing again. Will be on a Sunday, October 26th.
Yep.
Yeah, from 2 to 5 p.m. at Emerald Knights Games and Comics, which is still in Burbank, California. brought to you by Dark Delicacies. And yeah, get your book, get it signed by everybody, take photos. I mean, it's going to be the signing event of the year. I mean, I think
it's going to be so fun. I'm going to have a pocket full of pins that I'm going to be dishing out to everybody. People are going to be, taking photos left, right, and center. John is going to have a stall there, Funky Monkey, with t-shirts.
You mentioned that. You did. He told me he's going to bring some shirts. Yes.
It's just going to be a carnival atmosphere. All we need to organize is candy floss, and it will just be the best day ever.
Which we can do. We can do that, Marshall.
I would like candy floss.
All right. Which to American audiences means,
cotton candy.
Cotton candy.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that for us.
Yeah, cotton floss. Yes, I know.
Like they call it cotton. I mean,
I don't know.
It's been a complete honor for this time.
Thanks,
and you
buddy.
can interview about the book. Absolutely. I just want to let everyone know where they can find you on the social media.
Go ahead, Marshall. That's your gig.
Well, I'm Vintage Geek Central on Instagram and Facebook, and Howard.
Yeah, I'm Hoops511 on Instagram and somewhere in Facebook because it's connected. Yeah,
Howard Hoops Berger on Facebook.
There you go. Is that it? There. See, Marshall knows better than me.
But we're everywhere. I was getting into TikTok a little bit. My daughter said you should do TikTok.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not doing that. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Facebook, that's where
but yeah, and go to makingmonsters.org if you want to check out what's going on. There's listings of the events and cool photos, and that's the other thing too. If you guys anybody buys T-shirts and wants to take a photo and send it to us, that'll go onto our Monster Kid wall, which is cool.
Tag us and do the hashtag.
And it'll all get added, which is cool.
Yeah, if you post pictures with the book when you get it, if you post pictures in the T-shirts that you get, you do the hashtag or tag us, we'll find it, and you'll go on the Monster Kid wall, which is already getting, we got a fantastic one of Joe Dante and Robert Englund, and it's like our families are there and our friends and all our contributors. Cool. So we'd love everyone to be a part of that.
Absolutely. No, I love that. Yeah, like I said, you can go to Dark Delicacies website right now and still pre-order the book right now to get it into the signing event. But check out makingmonsters.org as well. And again, thank you guys. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. This was a blast. I can't wait for October. It's going to be so much fun.
It'll be fun.
And you got to sign my book.
Yes, I will sign your book. You got to sign my book.
Well, it's a deal.
All right. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.